At the age of 35 was when my life took an unexpected change. After being an educator in the commercial industry for many years, I found the opportunity to go and speak in a new industry, and that's the home embroidery market. And I gotta be honest, I never even knew it existed until I found myself immersed in it, and I got immersed very quickly. It was a matter of a year of transition from commercial to home, and we abruptly ended up changing our entire focus of what we actually did. I ended up selling Punch Perfect. I actually stopped working within the commercial industry, and we focused wholeheartedly on the home industry and what we do now. Now, the first year that I came into the home industry was a real eye-opener, and I was so blessed because of my background as an educator in the commercial industry. I was welcomed with open arms by a lot of the larger venues. I ended up speaking at the original Sew and Quilts. I spoke at the Sewing and Stitchery Expo and some of the other expos at the time, and I was welcomed as an educator, which very quickly opened some doors. And after the first year of being in the home industry, I was under exclusive contract with Baby Lock, who is an incredible company, family-owned business, and that was one of the biggest blessings I had because we were able to do events with some of their top dealers across the country. It was also during that first year that I actually reshot a video series. Originally, I had done a series in the commercial industry that was called Fit to Stitch, and it was geared towards commercial embroiderers on learning how to digitize. Now, to give you an idea of how long ago it was actually shot on VHS, and it was 24 hours in length. The first year I came into the home industry, I reshot this series, which is the Creative Digitizing Educational Bundle, and this is down to 8 hours of education, geared more towards the home industry, but this is 100% non-software specific and focused on the theory of using software. I found out very quickly that people in the home industry had all kinds of great software, but to be honest, no clue how to use it properly. So this series, over the course of a decade, actually sold over 10,000 copies at events alone, and it is an incredible series, and to this day the information is still relevant. Although it's not for sale anymore, we do include it as a bonus with our education that we provide online now, which is interactive. Now, the only difference between this education back then and now is my hair was naturally brown in those days. It's changed a little bit over time. But after that first year in the industry, I was actually approached by KP Publications, and they saw me at the Sewing and Stitchery Expo in Puyallup, and they asked me if I would write a book on digitizing. And I gotta be honest, I actually turned them down because it was my first year being exclusive with Baby Lock, and to give you an idea, I had over 260 nights in a hotel room that year. It was the beginning of the year that KP approached me, and they actually wanted the book for the end of the year, and I basically said, you know what, I'm sorry, there's no way I have time, I just can't do it. I went home and I told my beautiful wife Jennifer that I turned down an offer to write a book, and she basically read me the riot act and said, I don't care what you do, you have to write that book. So I did what I had to do, which was follow my wife's instructions, and I wrote this book. Now, this book was written in 3 days in a hotel room right before Christmas because it had to be to the publisher for the beginning of January, and it was actually pretty easy to do because all of the information in the book was taken from the information on the DVDs. The first step in this is actually in printed matter, what's on the book, and I am kind of proud of this book because it actually has sold over 42,000 copies since it's been in print, and it still actually is in publication to this day. During those early years when I was exclusive with Baby Lock, I gave hundreds and hundreds of seminars in front of thousands of people, and it was really kind of a fun time. I met so many incredible people in the industry that it still hold memories in my heart today. People that I've worked with in the past, dealers that I got to share time with, and there's one person in particular who stands out, and I'm sure you guys all love, respect, and remember her. I remember that I gave an event at her store in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, and her name is Nancy Zeeman, and to be honest, she's probably one of the nicest people in the industry that I ever had the opportunity to meet. And I mentioned earlier on in the first part of this series that I met my good friend Walter. I hold him in the same regard as I do Nancy. Those people are just people in the industry that have inspired so many. I will let you know that Nancy did inspire something else. When I gave my very first class at her store in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, it was actually a humbling experience because I gave a 2-day class, and guess who was standing at the sidelines for most of it? Nancy was there, and I gave a presentation called How to Make Money with Embroidery, which I've been doing for many years. It's evolved over time, but I still do that class. And after I gave that hour-and-a-half class, Nancy came up to me and she said, "You know, John, I would love to have a video of that in our catalog. Do you have one?" And I looked at her and I said, "I do now." And we actually shot a video that Nancy carried in her catalog for many years called How to Make Money with Embroidery, and that was really inspired by her. For well over a decade, we hosted successful machine-driven events all over the country. And they were a lot of fun and they were high energy. And at the age of 47, everything changed. And what I mean by that is, when we did events in the early days, we actually would set up our events, we would bring in tons of products. I had actually 18 trade show trunks of design packs. We had these bundles, we had the I Want It All, the I Want More, and then some. And we had people who would buy machines and buy our bundles, and they would be valued at a price of about $1,000. And that went on for many, many years. But then personally, I saw something change in the industry, and that was the way that people started to purchase designs. In the early years, we would actually sell these bundles and people would buy them, like crazy, because that's the way designs were sold in design packs. But by the time I was in my late 40s, I saw that people were starting to buy designs more and more online. And if they did buy a big bundle at an event or a show, they might do it once, they might do it twice, but definitely after that, they had every design they ever needed for 2 lifetimes, and they were done. So I have to be honest, at the age of 47, I kind of felt defeated. I felt like the industry had changed around me, and I thought that it was pretty much over. So at that time, I did feel completely defeated. I actually wrote a letter to the industry, all the dealers that we had worked with in the past, and I let them know that we were no longer going to be doing events within the industry. And it was a period where I had to try and figure out what I was going to do next, because I thought that the embroidery industry for me was over. But then I had an idea, and the idea was I had this huge database of designs, over 26,000 designs that I had personally acquired and digitized, either my staff or myself, over the years, and I own those designs. And I was either going to see them fade away, or I could make them available at a more reasonable price. So I had the idea of actually doing what I called Netflix for embroidery. And that was to make them available at a reasonable price within a membership so that people could download whatever they want whenever they wanted it at the same time. And we started on the road to building sites and building around that model, and it was very slow to start. I also had an idea at that time about education, because I'd seen so many people struggle with software over the years, and it's because during a class, one-on-one with me, they'd be fine, but as soon as that class was over, they felt like they didn't know what to do next. And being the way that this world and the internet has evolved, we started interactive digitizing lessons where people could actually watch what I was doing in the software that they currently own and follow along with me on a lesson plan that evolved step by step to reach their end goal, which is to create beautiful designs. So we spent almost 5 years developing these ideas and techniques. And really, the game changer happened just about 3 years ago. And that was when my son Jesse came in and joined us full time.
Hey everyone, Jesse here. I'm super excited to be part of the Embroidery Legacy. I'm in charge of marketing and web development, so we've been working hard to make the user experience better for you. And yeah, we're going to continue to do so.
Awesome. And to make it even better, my son James has joined the team.
Hey everybody, I'm also excited to be here. Most of you already know me, but if you don't, I'm in charge of making a few of the videos and editing here at the Embroidery Legacy. I've had a great time learning about the history, and I look forward to moving into the future.
Awesome. So again, we thank you, and we invite you to become part of our legacy. Thanks for watching our final History of Embroidery Digitizing video. I hope you enjoyed this short series as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. Over the span of over 60 years, my family and I have dedicated our lives towards advancing the beautiful art of machine embroidery and digitizing. And let me tell you, this is just the beginning. Whether you want to buy quality designs or learn how to create them, we've got you covered. I invite you to check out our Ladybug Embroidery Club for access to thousands of quality embroidery designs, or our Digitizer's Dream course to learn how to create them yourselves. I've attached links for both of these fan favorite products below. Now, whether you end up purchasing something from us or simply follow us on YouTube or Facebook for free education contests and giveaways, I'd like to personally thank you for your support and invite you to join us and become part of the embroidery legacy today. We couldn't have made it over 60 years in the embroidery industry without amazing fans like you. Well, that's it for this series. Thanks for watching, and remember, the next step of your embroidery legacy starts here with ours. Hi, John Deere here, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like down below. To join the legacy now, hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell to be notified every time we release a new video. It's no mystery, award-winning embroidery is our history.